Mama cannot believe that Uncle Mazen doesn't go to mosque. He makes excuses, like he is busy with work, family, life, but Mama won't hear any of it. She finds a mosque on Clifton Avenue. It's only a 10-minute walk, she says to me, proud that she has found it, proud that she is attending, proud that she is walking there on her own. Sometimes when I am at school, she goes to mosque and takes an English class. She has found her own version of Mrs. Ravenwood's class. When I get home from school, I practice with her. Hello, how are you? Good, thank you. Where is the bathroom? My name is Sahar. What is your name? One day she says to me in English, I miss home. I hug her tight, so proud of her. Me too, I say, me too. A few weeks later, Mama takes a nap in the late afternoon because the new baby is eating all of her energy. You're going to be a troublemaker, she says, and even though she is speaking to her belly, speaking to the baby, I can tell she is thinking about Isa. Aunt Michelle is busy raking leaves out of the backyard. Sarah is over at a friend's house, and Uncle Mazen is where he always is, work. That means that I am free to walk around our neighborhood. Mama doesn't like for me to walk around alone because she worries I might get lost. Aunt Michelle tells her I will be fine as long as it's light out. The sun is still out, even though the days are getting darker and darker, earlier and earlier. I walked on the sidewalks that are old and cracked, past wooden houses with slanted roofs, painted beautiful pastel colors. I wave at a man getting off the bus, a boy on a skateboard, a woman with 2 large grocery bags. They smile and I smile. I make it to Ludlow Avenue, which is lined with shops and restaurants that smell like burnt vanilla and curry and fried eggs. I have written 5 letters to Fatima to tell her about my new neighborhood, new city, new country, new life. In each of those letters, I've told her about Ludlow Avenue. It is not bigger than any of the main streets back home, but it is so different. Different because of the different shops, restaurants, and people. It is a tiny street, but it feels like the whole world is living there. It is on Ludlow Avenue that I discover a Middle Eastern restaurant. While back home would just be called simply a restaurant. The Middle Eastern restaurant I discover is called Alibaba. It is squeezed between a shop called Pangaea, which does not seem to sell prehistoric supercontinents, but ladies' hats and scarves, and a restaurant called The Great Wall, which sells food that my cousin Sarah tells me is Chinese. The first few times I only walk by Alibaba, I do not go inside. I am scared that I do not belong in a Middle Eastern restaurant in the middle of America. I am scared that the only place in Middle America that I belong is a Middle Eastern restaurant. On the 7th walk by, I decide to swallow my fear. I pretend I am my brother Isa, deciding to march in the streets, deciding to never call his sister. I am bold and fearless and do not care what people think. I push open the door, and at once I feel at home, greeted by old friends, the smell of cumin and thyme, the strong scent of Arabic coffee brewing on a stove in the back of the kitchen. Marhaba, I call out, more to the smells than to anyone, but a girl emerges from the kitchen. I recognize her. I have seen her in the halls. She is the only girl in my school who wears a headscarf. She is taller than me, but has a young face. Her head is wrapped with a scarf the color of an eggplant or a bruise. She asks in Arabic if I speak Arabic, and even though her Arabic is good, I can tell she is a native English speaker by the shape of her mouth, by the way the words slide out, unbent by the athletic tongue of someone who was born speaking Arabic. She motions for me to take a seat at a table in the back of the restaurant. Wait for me, she says, this time in English. I drum on the table with my fingers in the same way I used to watch Isa do when he would take me out to the sandwich shop, and we would wait for our order of falafel and hummus and extra tahini sauce. It feels like it has been a very long time, too much waiting. I am always saying to in English, which I mean so. And I am about to leave, but then the girl comes back. She has a tray full of shawarma, falafel, hummus, pickles, olives, fresh bread. My mouth waters, and then I see at the end of the tray that there is a small metal teapot, and it looks exactly like the one Auntie Amal used to pour us our tea during Ashwaneh. My eyes water, and tears spill out, and then I think the girl is going to ask me what is wrong, but instead she says, I'm Layla, and I say, I'm Jude. These are the things I know about Layla. She is in 8th grade, where I am in grade 7. I also know that her baba, Samir, is from Lebanon, and her mama, Deja, is also from there. They run the restaurant Alibaba together. Her mama manages the kitchen, and her baba manages everything else, which is an American phrase that I don't quite understand. Layla has never been to Lebanon, and she picks my brain for every tiny detail about the Middle East. You're so lucky you've been there, she says. I'm here now, I say. But that's lucky too, she insists. And I know she is thinking of those towns nearby mine, the ones that have been overtaken by the men with the swollen tanks, the ones where people are afraid to walk down the street. Lucky, I repeat. One of my favorite things about my new neighborhood is that the university is right nearby. So in the afternoons, there are always students walking up and down the sidewalks, holding coffee and talking fast. I like to sometimes pretend that Isa is one of them, carrying his backpack on only one shoulder and talking fast on his way back to his basement apartment. I spent a lot of time walking around outside, my hands tucked into the pockets of the fancy new coat that Aunt Michelle bought for me. The coat is the color of roses and lined with white fleece. It is as beautiful as it is soft. So beautiful, in fact, that when I showed it to Mama, I expected her to scoff because it came from Aunt Michelle, but even Mama couldn't deny that it is beautiful. And I feel beautiful when I wear it. Beautiful and American, gliding down Ludlow Avenue, past the students talking fast, past the shop that sells ladies' hats, all the way to visit Layla at her parents' restaurant, where I am sometimes put to work. I help scrape old food into the trash bins, but I'm always in return fed falafel and extra pieces of baklava that come on big trays from a bakery in Detroit. Layla and I compare notes about school. I don't see her that often in the halls because she is not in my grade, but she doesn't have to be in Miss Ravenswood class because her mind does not get stuck on simple words like put and on and to and so and when to use which one. I tell Layla how much I am liking school, but that I don't have any very close friends yet. No one like Fatima. And then her face falls and she says, "But you have me." I nod because I know Layla wants to be like Fatima, and she is my good friend, and no one is like Fatima. I promised Fatima that I wouldn't forget her, and I break a lot of things, but I try not to break promises. So I go on telling Layla about the other people that I have met. Lauren, and a girl in my science class with very wavy hair who lets me borrow a pencil when I forget mine. And Grace from Miss Ravenswood's class who helps me practice converting measurements into inches. And I think about mentioning the boy from my math class who always wears t-shirts with pictures of space, but I haven't exactly met him yet. I've only stared at the back of his head. "Wow," Layla says. She sounds like such an American when she says wow. "You really do like it here." I shrug, and she gives me a look which I don't quite understand. It is part surprise and part waiting. It is all unknown. One night is rainy when I walk home from the restaurant. I wrap my beautiful coat around my shoulders, and the rain that feels almost like ice hits my nose. My beautiful coat is not enough to keep me from the chill, and 2 days later I find myself stuck in bed, feeling so cold and shaky. The chill from that night is trapped inside my bones, even though the temperature says I am burning up. Mama takes care of me sitting at the end of my bed, singing songs in Arabic, brushing hair away from my sweaty forehead so she can kiss me. I am drowsy with sickness, and in the first few moments after my eyes flutter open and I hear my mama singing, I think we're at home. My whole heart pulses with happiness. I hold my breath waiting to see Baba, Isa. But then I hear the wood floors creak as Aunt Michelle comes in and out with medicine that tastes like sour berries and soup made of salty broths, and I know I am not back home, but here, in this home. I look outside my window as the leaves from the big trees that are falling to the ground, as the cold rain that is falling to the ground, and yet something inside of me is no longer falling. It is rising. Most times at dinner, it is always Mama, me, Sarah, and Aunt Michelle. Sometimes my Uncle Mazen joins us on days when he does not have to work late, and those are the best days because we all love Uncle Mazen. When Uncle Mazen is there, even Mama smiles and eats almost every bite of food off her plate. Every bite of the meal that Aunt Michelle made, the meals Mama thinks are too strange. Aunt Michelle tells me that she gets most of her recipes online. She shows me website after website that is filled with delicious photographs of food and also photographs of women dressed in beautiful outfits, sprawled across beautiful furniture in their beautiful houses. Aunt Michelle lets me click through the recipes on her iPad and sometimes even lets me choose which ones we should try. My mouth waters at the images of pumpkin risotto, black bean tostadas, tofu tacos. These are words that I don't quite know what they mean, but my eyes translate for my stomach. One night, though, Mama wins and Aunt Michelle lets her cook dinner. Mama does not find her recipes online. She finds it in her memory, her heart. I watch her as she fries up the cauliflower in lots of oil and roasts the lamb with even more oil. And on the table there are loaves and loaves of pita bread that she got fresh from Layla's mom and toasted up right on the stove, right openly over the open flame, just like how she used to do back home. I can tell Sarah is a little unsure about the food, but soon she is piling the crispy cauliflower into her mouth and smiling and telling Aunt Michelle all about her day, much more talkative than she usually is. Uncle Mazen is smiling too, and he looks at Mama and says, "It tastes like home." When Layla first tells me about the school musical, I don't understand what she is saying. My school back home did not put on plays. School was for serious subjects like science and math, things that can be measured and calculated. "It's a big deal," Layla says. This is one of Layla's favorite phrases. I've saved it for the next time I talk to Issa. I think he will find it funny. So many people try out, Layla says, and people from all over the city come to watch on opening night. Last year, it was written about in the paper. Are you going to try out? I ask. And Layla gives me the same look that she gave me before, the one that is part surprise, part waiting, part unknown. No, she finally says, laughing in the way that has nothing to do with humor. I'm going to work on the sets. You should do it too. It's fun. I don't say yes, but I go with her to the meeting that takes place after school in our school's big theater. The theater is beautiful, with a wide wooden stage and velvet plush seats that you sink into when you sit down. The seats remind me of the movie theater that Sammy took Fatima and I to that one summer. I cannot believe this school, my school, has an auditorium like this. As I watch the teacher, Mrs. Bloom, talk about the spring musical up on the stage, the lights beaming right onto her face, I try to imagine what it would be like to stand up there. I can't imagine it. I can't stop imagining it. I look from side to side and see so many faces that are also imagining it. One of them I recognize. It is Sarah. She is sitting with 3 of her friends a few rows in front of Layla and me. Layla nudges my shoulder as if to say, "Did you see her?" I nod. I wonder if Sarah is thinking about trying out for the play or if she wants to make sets like Layla. Everyone gets very quiet while Mrs. Bloom talks about the guidelines for the tryout. A 2-minute monologue and a song. The tryouts will take place for the week we get back from winter break. Mrs. Bloom paces the stage, the heels of her boots echoing against the wood, and I imagine it again. Me, walking on that stage, my footsteps echoing, my voice radiating through the room, all the eyes in the entire room focused on me. At the end of the meeting, Mrs. Bloom sets down some packets on the stage. I follow Layla, fully intending to take the one about joining the stage and tech crew. But at that last minute, I grab a tryout packet, too. Ho, ho, ho.